Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are charting the absolute monumental leaps in technology that completely transformed human existence. We're looking at a journey that took us from the most fundamental, bare-bones ways of living right up to the modern marvels that literally define our world today. So let's just dive right in and explore the minds and the historical inventions that fundamentally reshaped our reality.
Okay, let's strip away the modern grid for just a second. I want you to picture an ancient past running entirely on, firewood and walking. No electricity whatsoever. No instant communication networks. If you needed to move goods, you used animals. If you needed to send a message across a distance, you literally relied on birds. It sounds kind of like a fantasy novel, right? But that was our actual starting point.
And the gap between those two worlds is just massive. We move from this ancient reliance on nature and muscle power to our modern technological grid. We're talking emails beaming globally in milliseconds, motor cars dominating highways, and electricity powering our nights. This advancement didn't just change our tools, It completely changed the very pace and scope of human life.
To really wrap our heads around this incredible transformation, we are going to explore 4 distinct eras. 1. Revolutionizing how we travel. 2. Electricity, powering the world. 3. Connecting across distances. And finally, 4. Our journey into space.
Section 1. Revolutionizing how we travel, from hooves to the skies.
It is absolutely fascinating how the smallest, most mundane observation can totally alter the course of the world. Back in 1765, a young James Watt was literally just watching a kettle. He noticed the lid rattling and rising because of the pressure of the steam from the boiling water inside. And from that one simple, everyday occurrence, he realized this immense power of steam could actually be harnessed to drive engines. That little spark of inspiration led directly to the steam engine. It really goes to show that massive historical innovations can start right in our own kitchens.
This completely kicked off a domino effect of incredible speed. Think about it. We went from walking and riding horses to Watt's steam dream actually coming true. Then, in 1829, Stephenson takes that application and gives us the railway train. Bam! By 1885, Daimler invents the motor car. And then, the ultimate leap. In 1903, the Wright brothers invent the airplane. They took distances that once required agonizing months or years to cross and cut them down to mere hours.
But, the really crucial takeaway here is that innovation isn't just about raw speed. It's also about practicality. When Daimler invented the motor car, it essentially expelled the train when it came to transporting goods over short distances. And why is that? Well, the underlying economics dictate that it's significantly cheaper to run cars over roads than to take on the massive expense and effort of constructing railway tracks absolutely everywhere. Innovation, at the end of the day, always leans toward cost-effectiveness and efficiency.
Section 2. Electricity, powering the world.
Today, our lives are intrinsically completely tied to electricity. But historically, there was this really fascinating term for it: white coal. This referred to water when it was utilized to generate electric power. And this mastery of nature was championed by Michael Faraday, a guy we know today as the father of electricity. His brilliant work in repurposing natural resources pulled us right out of that era of firewood and propelled us into a globally illuminated age.
Section 3. Connecting across distances, the communication revolution.
Now, these are the devices that probably defined your childhood living room. Back in 1902, an Italian scientist named Marconi gave us the radio. It was this wild new form of wireless telegraphy that brought news and music directly into the home. And then, in 1939, John Logie Baird invented the television. It's almost funny to think about now, especially given our modern flat screens. But back then, it was pure magic to simply be able to see the face of a person speaking from miles and miles away.
This whole era beautifully laid the foundation for the mobile networks that we rely on literally every single day. In 1876, Alexander Graham Bell invents the telephone. Fast forward to 1900, and Reginald Fessenden achieves the first wireless telephone, totally paving the way for broadcast radio. Later on, Martin Cooper and his team built on that exact foundation to design the very first practical mobile phone. They moved the technology from our living rooms directly into our pockets and, completely untethered human communication.
Section 4. Journey into space, beyond the atmosphere. A spaceship is an artificial satellite pushed into orbit by incredibly powerful rockets. But I want you to notice the fundamental shift in how we actually invent things in this era. Earlier, we talked about these solitary individuals, right? Watt, Daimler, Faraday. But leaving the atmosphere,
That required a massive collaborative effort. Absolutely no single person invented the spacecraft. It was the monumental, combined work of very large teams pushing the absolute extreme boundaries of what was possible. 83.6 kilograms. That is the exact weight of the Soviet Union's Sputnik 1. Launched on October 4, 1957, it was the very first spacecraft ever put into orbit. Just think about that for a second. To put it into perspective, that relatively small weight, about the size of an average adult human, represented the heaviest, most monumental leap in scientific history. It firmly proved that the sky was no longer our limit.
So, we've journeyed from a boy watching a boiling kettle in 1765 to massive teams of scientists launching objects into the cosmos in 1957. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this. Look at that highly advanced device in your hand right now, or the electric lights illuminating your room, and ask yourself, from the steam engine to the spaceship, what historical invention is going to define the next century? What incredible boundaries are we going to break next? Thanks so much for exploring with me, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.